Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, leave us a review on whatever platform you use to listen. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. All right, cue that music.
And welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped professional wrestling history. We are back after a brief bonus season. Now we are going to do our regular scheduled program, bringing it back to SummerSlam season. So we're going to talk about SummerSlam at least for today. And today we are going back in the rewind to SummerSlam 94. We're talking 2 Undertakers, 2 Hart brothers, 1 steel cage, blue steel cage, 1 casket with nobody inside, 1 detective played by Leslie Nielsen of all people, $1 million swerve, 1 accidental super kick, 1 NFL Hall of Famer that I've never heard of, 2 WWF tag team champions who won the belts at a house show the night before, 1 women's title defense, several headbutts, but only 1 3-way headbutt, 1 country singer, 1 terrible Mabel strut, about 47 attempted cage escapes, 54% of convinced fans that Lex Luger sold out, 46% of fans convinced that he didn't. Oh, well, they were wrong. 0% undecided. 1 arena opening before Michael Jordan ever got to play there. 300,000 pay-per-view buys. 1 single 5-star match. And enough new generation nonsense to remind you that wrestling always works, even when it's fucking absurd. But before we get into all of that SummerSlam 1994 action, I am Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink. And man, Aaron, we haven't talked in a while. Have we even talked since fucking Americano versus Americano? I mean, it's been a minute.
I don't remember. I don't think we did, but holy hell, what a match that was.
Someone told me the other day, they were like, you know, it's hard to see through current time, like through like the current lens, but he was like, that's the best match since Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I was like, I was thinking, like, is it the best match of the year? Because, you know, AEW is like shamelessly trying to say on their own program, Tony Schiavone specifically, like after Swerve and Ospreay match ended the other day at Forbidden Door, that they were just like, oh, wow, this was great. This was the best match of the year. And I was like, wait, hold on. Americano versus Americano was like almost certainly so far the best match of the year.
There's a lot of good matches of the year, but Mask versus Mask at AAA, gosh, when was that? That was like 3 weeks ago, maybe at this point. Yeah, that was an hour-long spectacle from entrances to sign-off. I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. I guess I would need to watch it again to see if I felt like it was the best match of the year. I think for me personally, that still goes to Takeshita versus Okada.
Me too.
Which I did rewatch like a couple weeks ago and was like, holy shit, man. That match is crazy. But Mask versus Mask was great too.
Yeah, Takeshita Okada was unexpected. I mean, Americano versus Americano was also, and you know, El Grande Americano now has been attending the World Cup and in Mexico, and he's been doing celebratory things. Like, he's truly a Mexican hero at this point, you know, a white European guy, like from wherever the fucking Northern Europe he is from.
Like Austria or Germany or something, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. And so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I went to a couple weeks ago, I went to Forbidden Door and GCW, in LA back to back. GCW, obviously, like indie craziness. I was taking pictures by the ring when it was all over. Nick Gage was there and stuff. And the ring at the end of the night is just full of beer and blood and barbed wire. My friend's like, take a piece of this bloody barbed wire home. Like people are doing that. I was like, dude, it's literal blood. Like it's a fucking health hazard. Like you're not taking that into my car. Like, you know, like people were walking out with the chairs covered in barbed wire and stuff. But it was interesting to like hold the barbed wire and see the blood on it and like see how pokey it was. And I was like, all right, these like quote unquote gimmicks are pretty dangerous. But my favorite match that night was Lio Rush versus Shotzi Blackheart, because do you know Lio Rush's current gimmick is the Blackheart? That's what he calls himself.
I guess so. Yeah, he kind of just looks like he's like Gollum from Lord of the Rings to me.
Yeah, he crawls around on all fours and spews black tar-looking substance from his mouth. But yeah, I guess underneath it all, like the technical name for his character is Blackheart, and Shotzi is I don't know, at least in WWE she was Shotzi Blackheart. And so there was this weird booking where they're against each other and he's a freak and she's a freak and they're like rubbing each other's heads like some sort of, you know, non-human mammals and like refusing to fight. And then Leo carries Shotzi out like he's carrying her across the threshold, and all the refs come out and push them back in the ring. Are like, you have to fight. And so they like kind of fight and they're skeptical and they start to fight. And then Shotzi gets up on the top ropes and like holds her gut and like starts to like bend over like she's about to vomit or diarrhea. And people in the crowd are like, diarrhea. And she like hunches over and she falls off the top rope. Like it looked like it was an emergency. Like I thought it was seriously something wrong with her. And all of a sudden she like, it looks like she's dying. And then she lifts up her head. She's like on all fours. And it's like so scary. She's like looking at the audience, their eyes like super wide open. And now the Lio Rush black tar from his mouth is coming out of her mouth. And, you know, his thing is like, it's fine. He says like in this psychotic thing. So they're both saying it's fine. And they decide like they're the same. It's fine. And so they just fucking go at it, like kill each other with all this crazy fucking deathmatch shit. And like at the end, you know, they're like holding on to each other and like, it's fine. We are one is like what they're posting afterwards. And I was like, that was the most like story that I've ever gotten from GCW ever. It was a memorable match. It was probably the most memorable match that I've seen at a GCW show so far. So that was cool. And then after dealing with all the stinky GCW crowd, you know, till like fucking 11 p.m.
You went to the stinky AEW crowd.
Dude, I like barely sleep. I get up, I go to the airport, and like I land in like San Jose. You know, San Jose, they call it Man Jose. Have you heard this?
I have not heard this. Why did they call it that?
Because the only people that like young people that move there are like tech bros and engineers. So they just have all this tech business. So I guess like the dating scene, they call it Man Jose. Cause so like you
just too many dudes.
Yeah. You compare that with, you pair that with a wrestling crowd that has like only dudes. Oh my God. It was the worst fucking, I mean, it was loud on TV. I watched some of it, but it's the worst fucking crowd you can imagine. I was sitting, okay, so I like to sit on the end so I can get in and out of the row.
Yeah. Aisle seats for the win.
But what I realized is, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the guys who really like the aisle seats are the biggest guys.
Huge guys, yeah.
They're the big fat guys. So I was like a second to the end. I was like, I'll be fine, you know? No. I'm sat between...
You're sandwiched between two huge dudes.
Two, like, you know, 350 plus guys, you know, maybe more. And so I get to my seat and I'm like, you know, I've flown. I'm annoyed by wrestling fans a little bit already. And I get to my seat and there is no seat. It's just these two guys like bleeding together. And I'm like, all right, fine. You know, I kind of like wedge my fucking self in there. You got to like lean all forward. So you're like in front of their bodies.
And then you're like sideways, you know?
Yeah.
You got to pick a direction and then you're just sitting like this the whole night.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's this guy to my right. Okay, so the guy to my right is like this huge sweaty dude. He's bald. You can see all his sweat all on his head. And he is the most like vile, like horny, like demeaning dude. So I sit down and the first thing he says is like, he's like, is that sky blue? And I'm like, I think so. And he's like, I can tell by your ass. And I was like, cool.
Jesus.
And then the whole time it's all ass talk. We're in the front row. Like they can fucking hear us, dude. Like, I think. And he's like, there's like tag matches with girls. And he's like, all right, tag that other one. I want that ass facing me. And then he's like, he's got his 14-year-old son next to him. And he's like, put that in your spank bank, son. And like,
dear Lord.
these fucking AEW things are like 6 hours long. So I'm listening to this shit with no room. Like this fucking like demeaning dude.
Yeah, it's
like,
just basically screaming in your ear
all night. And then there's this skinny white guy behind me, like a dirt stash. And he's like, him and his like girlfriend are like, you know, whatever. They're like horny for all the guys and the girls. I don't know if they're like some like bisexual poly types or whatever. But his whole thing is like, Jack Sabre, you're kind of hot, but it kind of sucks. You still kind of suck. Everything was like you this, but it's still kind of this all night. And he'd be like, that was a pretty good move, but you still kind of suck. Or it was Kenny Omega, that was an awesome move, and I kind of love you, and you're kind of hot. And I was like, God. Oh my God. And he's like the loudest guy in the fucking room. So like I am like losing my patience with like all of this weird fucking combos. And I made it to the last match. And after I saw Ospreay and Swerve come out, you know, I thought about what we talk about sometimes, that like wrestling is more for TV anyways. So I was like, I got the vibe. Like I'll watch this match. That's going to be great from my hotel room. And I went home and did that. And it was great. The last match was great, but I don't really feel like mad that I wasn't on the front row for it. I was like, dude, I did 6 hours. Like I don't know why it's so long. So
I think the Dynamite that we went to in Ontario, where we were sitting, everyone was nice. Sure, people behind us were a little loud, but like, I don't know. I think 2 hours is a perfect amount of time. We had a nice, hospitable crowd. Nobody was smelly. Like, yeah, I just think when you get too close to the ring, people who have that kind of money are either very rich and very quiet, or very rich and very eccentric. Yeah, and you just happen to be near all of the people who had a good amount of money and happen to be eccentric.
Yeah, and to be fair, Forbidden Door is not their most expensive pay-per-view, and the San Jose tickets, for whatever reason, were not like normal front row prices. Like, I mean, you could get in the front row for a few $100. Like, this wasn't like a couple $1,000 thing. I think I'm kind of past, foregoing retirement over this wrestling shit, you know, like
I just think, honestly, having sat really close for house shows, like I could see how that would be fun, because they're playing to you, like, or going to GCW if you were close, that'd be fun. But like, if you're going to any show that's televised, I kind of feel like you need to be in the 100s, and your eye line has to be above the top rope for you to actually fully see everything that's going on and enjoy the experience. That's what I've sort of learned, is like, the only way I'm going to have fun at a televised wrestling event is if I am high enough in the air, because they do so much stuff around and you just can't see it when you're like as level with the ring as the performers are.
I think like row one in the lower bowl, like row one in the 100s, it's a lot of times like more expensive than like row 5 on the floor,
which would make sense because you have a much better view.
Yeah, and there were some people in row one of the lower bowl who were hollering shit, like a group of guys at the wrestlers, like when the Dogs versus Edge and Christian or whatever their names are now happened. They were like, who let the dogs out, who and like Edge broke character, like he looked back at us like it wasn't on camera, I don't think, and he just like gave a look, like, and I was like, damn, like you can really hear like the front row of the lower bowl, like you know, so like you have a lot of interaction still. Those guys were creeps though. They were wearing Baby Metal shirts, and when Starlight Kid came out.
What's Baby Metal?
Baby Metal are these like when they came out like 10 years ago, they were like these truly like prepubescent, like I don't know where they're from. They're Asian little girls who played metal.
Oh, okay.
But it's weird that it's weird for grown men.
Bros are wearing teenage women bands, like shirts,
preteens, yeah,
and then preteens.
like, dude, I mean, come on. And like, I guess metal guys liked it, but I always thought it was kind of creepy because like, what's this infantilizing sexualization, like whatever. But then Starlight Kid is, you know, she's a grown woman in her 20s, but she's like 4 foot something tall, and she's wearing like some sort of schoolgirl outfit with like these big like white panties under the skirt that like look it looks so childlike. It's so they're freaking out for Starlight Kid, like they are screaming for her, like let's go Starlight. But then I started to chant when they did that, I was like, pedophile, let's go Starlight, pedophile. And then some of the guys in the audience started switching it to you're on a list. Let's go Starlight, you're on a list. Because I mean, these guys, I was like, what's your deal with like, you know, like 10-year-old like Asian chicks, man? You're fucking creepy, you know?
Yeah. That's not great.
No, I could go on and on about all the wrestling fans, but maybe I won't.
Well, let's see what other current product things happened since we recorded. So Sami Zayn won the WWE Championship in Saudi Arabia. That was pretty cool.
Dude, I was so stoked.
I was genuinely shocked by that. Unfortunately, his reign only lasted a grand total of 9 days, I think is what it was. Something like that. And
don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened, I feel like, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. The person that took the belt from him is one of our favorites, CM Punk, and that happened at the Monday Night Raw in Chicago last week at the time of us recording. You know, when you have Punk in Chicago, like, and you set up the dominoes all correctly earlier in the show, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I thought to myself, well, clearly Punk's going to be facing Sammy, but I also kind of thought that maybe Sammy would win because maybe Gunther would interfere, or maybe Cody would come back from the hospital or something. I didn't really think that Punk would beat Sammy clean. So that was a surprise. But on the other hand, I did also remember that right after WrestleMania, Punk was talking after he had lost to Roman, and Cody came out. They were talking about, you know, title opportunities, and Punk said something like, you never know when an opportunity will just drop out of the sky. And then Cody said, like, just say when, Punk. So, you know, the pieces were all kind of in place, and now we've got Cody versus Punk at SummerSlam, which I'm sure will be great. I would imagine now might be the time they finally make Punk a bit more heelish than he's been, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I feel like Cody Rhodes is definitely more willing to do what he's got to do than he did before when he was such a good guy. I wouldn't put him anywhere near tweener, but he's still a babyface. But like, it would be kind of cool if he went heel. But like, Punk's
just Punk. I don't think he's ever gonna tilt one way or the other. He's just always gonna do what he does.
I guess that's my feeling, is you can't really turn him. CM Punk can do no wrong for most of us, I feel like. And Cody Rhodes, I feel like Cody Rhodes like is his character is ready for something else. I would like to see Cody like turn in that match, but I don't know. They're gonna be tagging together for a minute before we get there. I'm gonna see him at a house show in Bakersfield. It's like Cody and Punk versus Sammy and I forget who, but
that'll be fun.
Or maybe it's not Sammy. Well, but they're teaming together against somebody or another.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That'll be cool. I guess the one last current product thing we should bring up is Dynamite from last week, which I also thought was a really good show. They're like Beach Bash or whatever they called it. Outdoor venue, interesting stage setup, interesting ring setup, interesting crowd setup. And the main event was Kenny Omega versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. And another surprising title change. Kenny dethroned MJF, and now at All In London, it looks like we're going to get Ospreay versus Omega for the AEW Championship, which is a surprise. If you had asked me what's the biggest possible match you could have at All In, I would have said MJF versus Ospreay, because MJF's the biggest star they have. But, you know, there's still time. Maybe MJF will get it back. But either way, I think this would be a good match. It's just not, when I think about like the biggest match, it's just not what I think about. I'm still gonna watch it, but
it's weird. I don't know what the like underlying reason was. I don't know if MJF has Hollywood plans for that time. I don't know if there's a great creative reason or if it's just that, AEW is a very markish company and they like PWG guys, more than anything, Kenny Omega. And and Will Ospreay is, obviously work rate, AEW style.
he's probably the number 2 guy at AEW, I would say, behind MJF.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I always said in recent times that Kenny Omega just doesn't seem like Kenny Omega from 2020, but that match, he actually did start to move around pretty well.
Yeah. I almost wonder if he's been kind of holding back for the sake of story, because I will say, despite the fact that AEW has the criticism of sometimes not having a very solid week-to-week story or a story within a feud, they do have a tendency to do 4-year stories, like the Hangman thing. It's not enough for week to week, but if you look at where Hangman started in 2019 versus where he was when he beat Moxley at All In, that's a huge arc and an interesting progression. So it wouldn't be the first time that they would do something like this.
Even Ospreay, how long ago did he say he would never do the 91?
The Tiger Driver? Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, so did they even say that on commentary how he won? Maybe they did, but
I think they did. No, didn't the Death Riders come out and Moxley was like, "Do it, do the Tiger Driver."
Yeah, I didn't know if it was explicitly spoken or if we got that just from watching
a little bit from commentary.
But basically, he subtly we were like, why is he? He said he would never do the Tiger Driver, and because it's too dangerous versus Bryan Danielson, who hasn't even wrestled in the company in a couple of years, and kind of forgot about that whole thing. And then it's oh shit, he wins the Owen Hart Cup to go to All In through training with the Death Riders, which I didn't really get, as sort of Mox's young boy of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And you're what the fuck? And it's because Mox pushed him to be that dangerous guy.
Yeah.
And he went back and did the Tiger Driver. And I'm that was a subtle, long ass fucking story. I mean, I know it's not 4 years, it's 2 years, but still.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about is it's so subtle that if you aren't paying really close attention, you might miss it. So, I give him props for that. And if that's what Kenny is doing to kind of ramp himself up, that's pretty cool. Because I agree wholeheartedly. There were at least 2 or 3 matches that he had after coming back from his diverticulitis issue where I was no, he doesn't have it anymore. And that's okay. If you have a serious medical issue and you need to scale it back, you got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of yourself. But yeah, he felt like he was firing on all cylinders to me in that match against MJF.
Yeah, I was at a Revolution in Los Angeles a year plus ago. He came back and people were freaking out. The AEW crowd loves him no matter what. But I remember sitting there in the crowd and being he's selling his injury to the point that either it's real or he is making his entire gimmick part of selling this injury. Because I think we had a quick bonus episode on that or whatever, but I was I don't know, man. He just looked like he was in fucking pain before anyone touched him. So props to him if he actually worked that a little bit. I know he actually had the illness, but if he did that, that's interesting to see. What a fucking method actor,
Yeah.
And we are rewinding to SummerSlam, WWF SummerSlam, 1994, August 29th of that year at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, to an attendance of 23,300. A brand new United Center, by the way. This was not the one where I saw Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and all those fellas play. This was the one they built in right before their I guess, 95 season. And the WWF was there before the Bulls ever got in there. Commentary by Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler. Host, Randy, the Macho Man Savage. Interviewer, Todd Pettengill. And the running gag was Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy searching for the real Undertaker. It opens up with Randy Savage coming out as the host. He's immediately puts over the new generation era and promises that this will be the most fun you'll ever have in your entire life. Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler, welcome everyone to the United Center. And was this the most fun you've ever had in your life, Aaron?
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
No, but maybe if I was alive and there, or I was alive, maybe if I was there in 1994, it would have been, but it wasn't today.
It could have been for me in 1994. Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
well, this is your era, so
this is right in the zone. And like I said, like when I was that age, I did go up to see the Chicago Bulls at the other United Center. That was probably a lot more sketchy than this one, and that was one of the most exciting moments of my life. So who knows? Maybe this would have been too. We started it off. The first match of the night was Bam Bam Bigelow and IRS, accompanied by Ted DiBiase, versus Fatu and Samu, the Headshrinkers, with Afa and Captain Lou Albano accompanying them.
Captain Lou was skinny. Did you notice that? Like, he was always very rotund in the 80s. And I was like, oh, Captain Lou on that Weight Watchers.
I know, like, if it was nowadays, you'd be like, he got that Ozempic. But back then it was like, I got that fucking whatever. It was something else.
Speed pills.
I was going to say, I think it was the mini thins, I think they called them. Yeah. You would just speed your fucking basically like cheap meth, like gas station meth. We used to get these things called yellow jackets. It's like totally illegal now. It's like, meth, and you just buy them at the gas station. And they looked
like little yellow jacket bees.
Yeah, they had like the black and yellow stripes.
Yeah.
And you'd run out of beer at the end of the night or whatever, and someone would be like, I got some yellow jackets. It's like $2.99.
Oh my God.
You take that shit, you stay up for the next 6 days. I mean, dude, like trucker speed, man. But most of that stuff was banned, but I'm not saying that that's what Lou was on, but that's definitely what Lou was on.
It's neither here nor there.
So, the Headshrinkers have their own language of sorts, which the commentary makes fun of a lot. They're like, I don't know what the fuck he said.
I think Samoan guys. Come on.
Vince goes, I think he just said Domino's delivers. He got like his plug in, because Domino's is sponsoring this fucking thing. They're on the pizza. Their logos on the pizza, on the VHS box. Sorry, but what can you expect? Samoans, lots of headbutts. Fucking Bam Bam does a lot of headbutts too. Ref distraction. Alpha does get involved. There was a 3-way headbutt spot, I think, with Bam Bam and the two Samoans. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was clusterfuck. Headshrinkers got DQ'd, and everyone brawls their way off to the back. I don't think there was a whole lot to that one. It took up, the better part of the first 10 minutes or so, but Bam Bam's awesome and the Headshrinkers are awesome. And sometimes this era is just about seeing the guys you remember and being like, oh, yeah.
And also kind of setting up, it kind of felt to me, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it kind of felt to me like Ted DiBiase, had a stable and he was like recruiting and like, it was almost like, like a Four Horsemen kind of thing or an NWO kind of thing. I don't know if that really ever turned into anything, but that was kind of the vibe I was getting, is like he's recruiting all these people. He's got this faux Undertaker, maybe he's got Lex, he's got Bam Bam and IRS. So I think even Shawn and Diesel maybe were aligned with him at the time. I don't know.
I don't know, but this would have been a tag team championship match.
That's right.
But the Headshrinkers lost it to Shawn and Diesel the night before in somewhere Illinois or Indiana at a house show, which you don't really see.
Certainly not anymore.
You don't see titles changing that much at house shows, but
yeah, it happened a little bit in the past, but it never happens now because then you can't make money off it because no one saw it.
Yeah, I think the who was on Survivor Series? Yeah, no, in Survivor Series a couple of months after this, there was $1 Million Team, which was Bam Bam, Jimmy Del Rey, King Kong Tatanka, Tom Pritchard. I don't know. Ted DiBiase was all over shit, but I don't know if he had like an official stable. But yeah, that was a dud from Dave Meltzer, which maybe is a little harsh, but
no, I mean it was fine. It was just fine and nothing else.
That Forbidden Door thing we were talking about earlier, by the way, Dave Meltzer ratings are crazy now. Like, he gave Swerve and Ospreay 5.5, and he gave that cage match, which was just a bunch of fucking deathmatch shit in the cage, a solid 5. I'm like, this is...
Really?
This is crazy now. Like, and everything else was like 4.75. So, like, back in the day...
This is why I just don't trust this man, and I don't think I ever will.
And then we get to a Leslie Nielsen segment. If you guys don't remember Leslie Nielsen,
Naked Gun,
yeah, old guy, gray hair.
I'm assuming that's why he was there, as there must have been a Naked Gun movie coming out. But funny enough, they didn't mention the movie at all. He was just there.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was about. But he's in a detective's outfit and he's looking for the Undertaker. The Undertaker, mind you, had already essentially died. He lost a coffin match versus Yokozuna earlier in that year, and they put him in the coffin. He appeared on the screen. He says, "I will not rest in peace. You will witness the resurrection." So he's doing like a Jesus thing, sort of, and
they've hired Leslie Nielsen to solve it all.
Yeah, and he's not very successful in this, but he's trying, and it's making it all a little... It's taking a kind of a campy idea of resurrecting a dead wrestler to fight against, another version of himself that Ted DiBiase says he has the Undertaker and Paul Bearer says he has the Undertaker. Ted DiBiase's Undertaker is like, motivated by Ted's money, and the other Undertaker obviously has much darker proclivities, but... it's so absurd already that it's like works because the Undertaker, but you add Leslie Nielsen and it makes it even more silly. And then we head on to the WWF Women's Championship, Alundra Blayze versus Bull Nakano, and Bull's got Luna Vachon, who I always think is fun, with her. But I mean, these are like the only 3 women in the fucking women's division at this point. Like, I don't can't
remember anyone.
I mean, when I was looking back at my childhood, I was like, were there women in WWE? And then I'm like, oh yeah, like I actually had been to an Alundra Blayze Bull Nakano match, and like that's all there really was. It was like there was a heel and a face, and Bull's fucking awesome, dude, and Alundra is kind of just a drop kick, really, but.
Yeah, I had hoped this would be something more entertaining than it was because of how good Bull Nakano is. We saw her in the WCW North Korea pay-per-view that we watched a couple months ago. And that match, despite the crowd not making a single sound, was one of the better matches of that whole event. So watching this or getting ready to watch this, I was like, hell yeah, this should be good. To me, it was mostly forgettable. I will say that the crowd was reacting, though. It's Chicago. Chicago's always a good crowd. You can kind of always count on them. But yeah, Alundra Blayze just isn't really doing it for me. Bull is good, but I just kind of feel like it's too short of a match to really get invested in. Nakano did do a cool submission that I think is what Paige or Saraya uses as the page turner, where it's like you kind of get them in a sharpshooter, but then you turn and you pull them up and you're like holding them and they're above they're levitating above the ring, but you've got them in this maneuver and you're like wrenching back. I thought that was really cool. It got a reaction, like when she stretched Alundra back with that move, everyone's like, oh, I thought that was fun. But Alundra gets the win after a failed leg drop from Nakano off the top rope. The crowd did pop really huge when she got the pin. It was just kind of another okay match for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry makes fun of Bull. He says she's like Don King because she has the hair that goes in there in the sky.
He said he thought it was cool.
Yeah. Bull dominates most of the match, but then Alundra kind of pulls it off in the end. But I liked Bull coming out of the gate and just throwing Alundra by the hair, just tossing her around by her fucking hair, and there was some pageantry. There were flower girls at the beginning for some reason.
Yes, there were.
I mean, it's like whatever, but 2 matches in, and I'm like, all right, let's. Nowadays, you kind of try to start it off with something like boom, like holy shit, like it's almost like the second or third best match of the night like happens at the beginning, but this was kind of like, all right, we're still easing into this, aren't we, guys? But
third match was a little less of an ease in, or at least this was when I got excited.
Yeah, before that we got Todd and Gill. No, Todd Pettengill interviewing Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
Oh yeah, Diesel had a good promo there. He was angry, yelling.
Yeah, it's chaotic and alarming, and he's the Intercontinental Champion and the Tag Champion at this point, so that worked. And then we get Diesel's entrance, which is chaotic and alarming. A fucking truck honking and starting
a horn. Yeah. That, I gotta say, once again, it's just an 18-wheeler honking. Is there any music? If there is, I don't hear it. It's just like every 10 seconds.
Not just honking, it's also engine starting.
Oh yeah. Right.
No,
that's very important.
With you. Like it's
yeah. But hey, Razor Ramon's always cool. Diesel came out with Shawn, obviously. Razor came out with Walter Payton, who I can't believe you haven't heard of, but that's fine. Played for the Bears.
The Bulls.
And this match was for Diesel's Intercontinental Championship. I did like this one. I feel like this match is paced very well. The beginning is very exciting. Razor is always getting a few shots in, but Diesel's kind of knocking him down. And it makes a lot of sense. Razor's not a short dude, but Diesel is a bigger, taller dude. So he's playing the underdog, the David versus Goliath in this instance. And again, Razor Ramon, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, they're all friends in real life. So again, I will say you can kind of feel how comfortable they are with each other.
Yeah.
And how they're willing to do things to one another that maybe they wouldn't do to everybody. And I really enjoyed it. It kind of goes exactly how you think it will. Shawn's interfering on Diesel's behalf a lot of the time.
Pulling hair, removing turnbuckles, looking like a member of the Village People. Go ahead.
And yeah, ripping that turnbuckle off the corner. Diesel throws Razor into it. You're like, oh no, he's gonna lose. He kicks out. Everybody is going crazy. But yes, bad guys constantly cheating. And I think it takes a pretty long time before Walter Payton actually does anything, but he, tries to even the odds. And so the ending is the first time that this happens, and we've seen the second time that this happens. Razor is being held by Diesel. The ref is distracted. Shawn is in the ring. He's going to super kick Razor, and he ducks at the last second, so Shawn accidentally super kicks Diesel instead, which allows Razor to crawl over, pin him, and then he's the new champ. Like I said, we've already watched the next big pay-per-view of this year, which is Survivor Series 94. And this exact same thing happens in one of the Survivor Series matches with Shawn and Diesel on the same team. Diesel's holding Razor. Shawn kicks Diesel by accident. And that Survivor Series 94 incident is what leads to their breakup and then their feud. So we're getting hints of it here. The cracks are starting to show.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's not as much as now as, I guess it still happens the same amount, but like all these matches, it's like whoever's getting mauled the whole fucking time is probably going to win, like in this one, Razor's just really getting his ass beat and Diesel's showing insane power and you're like, all right, well, Razor's fucking, he's gonna pull this one off. Like, there's something about that. Like, whoever's really getting beat down, but a little bit. I mean, everyone is such a great character involved in this, and it's cool that Diesel's starting to get pissed at Shawn, but a little too much shenanigan-ish for to make it perfect on this match. But it's cool. I mean, Meltzer gave this one a 2 3/4 stars.
I would disagree, but I guess if he's docking it because of the constant interference, I guess I could kind of understand.
Yeah, I don't know his reasoning. That was just my own commentary. But the last one, the women's match was 3 1/4 star. This is probably better than that one. So I don't really know. It's kind of fun to look at his stars and try
he's all over the place.
He's thinking, but but yeah, it was all right. I mean, I'm not saying it was a 2 3/4. I mean, I'll give it the whole 3. But I love to see all those guys. I love to see all those guys. Todd Pettengill comes back to host the WWF opinion poll. Has Lex Luger sold out? 54% said yes, 46% said no, which I thought was interesting. That nobody was undecided. Like, when does that happen in a poll? Like, it was so clean.
Is this before the Lex Express? It is, right?
This Lex Express would have been.
Maybe I'll look it up.
SummerSlam. That was a SummerSlam before this.
93. Yeah. Okay. So it's good to have the context, because the Lex Express is when things started to go downhill for Lex.
Right. They sort of realized that Lex really wasn't like a face of the company, and that Vince decided he wasn't going to put the belt on him, or he was considering it. I mean, he was going to make him the new American hero, the new Hulk Hogan, so to speak, and that kind of bottomed out. That kind of went to Bret Hart, sort of, but but yeah, Lex wouldn't be in WWF much longer after this. But Lex Luger versus Tatanka is the next match. Tatanka, of course, the offensively cartoonish,
the token Native American wrestler, but he is actually 1/8 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't, it would be more offensive. But I'm just saying, like, it's so out of like Cowboys and Indian movie that it's like, check out his Twitter page if you
Tatanka.
Yeah, God, yeah, he's a fucking piece of work. But yeah, so Tatanka versus Lex Luger. Tatanka had Ted DiBiase with him in this match. Lex Luger comes out still wearing the red, white, and blue. The gear is kind of funny. It looks like he's basically just wearing American flag underwear. Tatanka, like we said, Native American Halloween costume. Wrestling itself is okay. Ted comes out waving around money, distracting Lex. Everyone wonders if Ted DiBiase has bought Lex Luger or not.
Well, when Lex comes out, he gets a mixed reaction from the crowd, which is something I thought was interesting. And in the backstage with Todd Pettengill, Tatanka is essentially alleging that Luger is under the employ of the $1 Million Man. And Luger just doesn't say anything, so the audience is left to figure it out, make up their own minds. And so when Lex comes out, like, he's not getting cheered unanimously. Yeah. I did not like this match at all. It ended almost as quickly as it began. It was like 6 minutes, and it was really just an excuse to progress this story. So Tatanka wins with a roll up after $1 Million Man comes out and distracts Lex with money, like you said. And then it turns out that Luger didn't sell out. It was Tatanka all along, and he betrays Luger. And wow, what
a swerve!
Yeah, I mean, if you had no idea in 1994, maybe it was a good little twist, but ultimately didn't do anything for me personally in 2026.
I appreciate, that Ted DiBiase's character was just, everyone's got a price.
Literally throwing money at people, yeah.
Yeah, just over and over, and you never know who's going to take it and be bad. And it's like, it just worked over and over again. But like, he's a precursor to a Paul Heyman or something, but yeah, it's one note for sure. And Lex definitely got dollar bills stuffed in his mouth at the end, which was probably the best part of the match, the visual of that. But next match was Jeff Jarrett, JARRETT, double J, Jeff Jarrett versus Mabel. So it's kind of like country versus hip hop, because Mabel comes out with Oscar.
Wave your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
Yeah, it's like a Full House rap, like
throwing a couple whoop there it is, and then you got a rap song.
Yeah, so I don't know what's worse, like Jeff Jarrett's country or Mabel's hip hop, but
I mean, I don't know. I think the Jeff Jarrett country stuff makes me laugh, especially after watching that Dark Side of the Ring episode about him.
Yeah,
or two of the three.
I was going to say, if you guys haven't been watching the new season of Dark Side of the Ring about Jeff Jarrett's story on his wrestling company TNA that he started, it's pretty fucking good. It's like a 2-hour episode to start with, and then they're going.
Yeah, and there's another one coming.
Yeah, so the first episode is part 1 and 2, and then there's another one, and it is really good. I learned a lot from that, but yes, it's cool. It's cool to see Jeff Jarrett. By the way, I don't know if we're still doing Meltzer ratings always, but Tatanka versus Lex Luger was a 2-star match, and then this one we're about to talk about was a 3/4 of a star.
Well, I guess I kind of understand why. I mean, we've seen a decent amount of Mabel on the pod at this point.
Yeah.
I think that the novelty of Mabel has worn off on me. I just don't think he's particularly good. He's just huge. And I get that is an attraction in and of itself. But when I think about all of the people that they had on the roster at this time, I'm just like, I know exactly why he's out there and getting time. It's because he's black and the vibe with him and Oscar is hip hop, and Vince is trying to appeal to the kids who like rap in the 90s. And it's just so obvious.
Pandering. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously pandering. And, I guess when he becomes like a member of Undertaker's faction and he becomes Viscera, maybe it works a little bit more because that's all he's supposed to be, is just a big, imposing, scary dude. And that's what he is. But for me, early 90s Mabel, I'm not into it. I'm into Jarrett, though. Jarrett's doing everything he's supposed to be doing, and he's doing it well.
Dude, his sidekick, Mabel's sidekick, Oscar, I think is his name, nails Jarrett right in front of the ref. No DQ.
Yeah.
Like terrible officiating on this one. But Jarrett wins after Mabel misses trying to sit on him. So it's pretty fucking stupid, but but fear not.
The crowd was into it, though. I guess we should say that the crowd was much more excited about this than I was.
Yeah. And then
that tracks.
Yeah, and then we get more Undertaker searching. I don't know, the lights go out, Vince addresses the crowd.
No, it doesn't really go anywhere, but after that, we finally get to some of the good stuff. We get a nice, big, long recap about the feud between brother and brother, Bret and Owen. And we have watched their big match that happened before this at WrestleMania 10 when Owen picked up the victory. So we have discussed how this story went, but essentially, to kind of make it very quick, they had been kind of feuding the previous year. Owen calls out Bret. Bret says he's not going to wrestle him. They make up. They're a tag team. They lose a tag match. Bret gets attacked by Owen, and that's what leads to the WrestleMania match. So now here we are a couple of months after WrestleMania. Owen has not stopped attacking Bret. Bret has become the WWF champion, and Owen wants a title shot. So this is where we end up. Bret versus Owen in a steel cage for the WWF championship.
Yeah, Owen's spent a long time in that era complaining about living in Bret's shadow. And they've had quite a few matches, but this was maybe the only cage match
that the two of them had together. Yeah, I think so.
It's just barbaric brutality. It's kind of like this is to end it all, Owen's already beaten Bret clean at Mania 10. There was a tag team breakup. The Survivor Series followed before that. Owen's King of the Ring, the King of Hearts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Winning the King of the Ring.
And I forgot about WWF All American Wrestling. Like I
don't even know what that is.
They were showing in the clips you were speaking of. They had like the little.
Oh, it was one of the shows.
One of the shows. It was Raw. Yeah. It wasn't Raw and SmackDown. It was Raw and All American Wrestling. And I was like, "Fuck!" I remember that was like the B show, but that would end in later in 1994. So they were at the end of that.
Okay.
But they got all the family there. picking sides. And
oh yeah, they did interviews. That's right. I
right.
don't want to skip over that. Vince and Jerry are interviewing members of the Hart family one by one. Jerry Lawler's being an asshole, and Vince is trying to rein him in. And
yeah, Davey Boy, Neidhart, Bruce Hart, everybody. Yeah, all the folks. So
Jim Neidhart had helped Owen do some shady heel shit in the past. So when they saw that he was sitting with the family, they're like, Jim Neidhart, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just here to watch.
Yeah, and Bret's like, this isn't the dungeon anymore. It's barbaric. It's a dogfight. I don't hate you. I just want to end this. Blue cage, classic look. Owen dominates early. Escape only rules.
Yeah, and no ref in the ring either.
Well, I think in the cage on the current WWE video game, there's no ref in there. And I was like, that's so fake. There's always a ref in there. And then I was watching this and I was like, oh shit. Like, if there's no count, there's no ref, because they're only just checking to see if you got out of the ring.
Yeah, no pins and no submissions means what do you need a ref for? I just thought, I was like, oh, it's definitely different from a modern day cage match. And I mean, for a number of reasons, obviously.
I'm sure I've complained about this several times, but the fucking door, man, the door that's not locked. Like, what's the point of a cage with an open door? Like, you can climb out of the cage and risk breaking your neck, paralyzing yourself, serious injury, or you could walk out of the door. It's like
why would you ever not walk out of the door?
Yeah, it's like this room has several ways to escape: 2 windows or a door. It's like, I'm jumping out the window, bro. You know, it's like, what?
No, I'm opening the door.
Fucking hate it. Just fucking lock them in the goddamn cage. The door should be to get in. Climbing should be the way to get out. It's bothered me my whole life. It's so irritating, but this is escape only rules, and they mostly try to escape by climbing out.
Yeah.
Owen's nearly escaping many times. This match is mostly about trying to
escaping.
Climb. Yeah, there's not a lot of like groundwork, like mat work, like you would see these two do.
Eventually there is some, I mean, it's paced well, it gets more intense, but yes, I'm not disagreeing with you. They're both constantly trying to climb over the cage, and they're catching one another before they can get all the way over. The crowd, every time, they love it, and it just got a little repetitive for me personally.
Yeah, the crowd does love it. They're crazy for it, but
that's 1994, you know, like this is what cage matches were. It wasn't, I don't know. When I think of a cage match now, I think they're not trying to escape. They're trying to beat the shit out of each other. Right. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, that's just what I think of, you know, like Seth and Punk.
Yeah.
Becky and Trish, like all of these, they're not trying to, well, I guess Becky was probably trying to escape, but
it's more of a match.
Yeah.
Bret apparently has strep throat, so I was kind of like, oh, is that his out for this?
Oh, shit. Interesting.
Did you hear them say that?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Bret's recovering from strep throat. And they're like, they asked him like in the interview, and he's like, that's got nothing to do with anything. And he just brushed past it. And then Vince briefly mentioned it also, like, and Bret Hart is recovering from strep throat. Sometimes they use that shit as like an out, but it didn't really have a bearing on this. It's stressful. I'll give it that. You know, it really does seem like, oh shit, that guy almost just got out. Oh, he didn't. Like, sometimes their bodies are almost all the way over, and then, you know, fuck.
Just get him by the hair. Yeah.
But I feel like we sacrificed with the cage what makes Bret and Owen great. So there's some things that it's a great match. It's cool to see them. It's actually a really good, I mean, it's probably one of the best tag matches best cage matches of WWF in this particular era. So it was a little long, you know. I think it ran like 20 minutes or something.
32.
No, well, fuck, 32. It was long.
It was very long. Yeah. It was very long. I like their WrestleMania match better. I think pretty much anyone you would ask would say the same thing, because when you look at the greatest matches of all time, this isn't anywhere near the top, but Bret and Owen is. I will say that they do plenty of high risk moves, especially towards the later half of the match. A lot of suplexes from the middle rope after they're getting their opponents back down from the top of the cage. Eventually, I think Bret hits Owen with a huge superplex from the top of the cage, which is kind of like what Punk did to Seth in their cage match. I really enjoyed Owen putting Bret in the sharpshooter and Bret knocking Owen's leg so that he falls down and reversing it very, very quickly. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little long. It was not the best exhibition of Bret and Owen's finest qualities, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
I would say that was WrestleMania 10, where they're having a traditional match with high flying stuff, with mat based stuff. This was still a struggle and a contest, but it was a different kind. It was a bit more, it felt a bit more real in that it wasn't as pro wrestling-y, because they're just, like trying to climb shit and like punching each other and throwing each other. And it didn't feel as choreographed at times, but ultimately wasn't my favorite. It was the best match of the night so far. Actually, it was the match of the night, quite frankly.
It was definitely the match of the night. Yeah, I feel like modern wrestling kind of it spoils us a little bit. Like, I'm watching this 30 minutes in and I'm like, it could use like a Sammy Guevara right now, where he spins his finger on the side of his head and like does a 360 some shit or another. And then I'm like, does it really need that?
Once the cat's out of the, I don't know. I mean, you could make the argument either way, right? But yeah. I don't think you're wrong. The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
You can't really, once you do cage matches that do more inventive and crazy high stakes stuff, the less effective a match like this will be. And just from the passage of time,
right,
wrestling became more intense and more high stakes, and breaking more boundaries, being more dangerous, and you can't really take it back, because that's what we want.
Well, it's like at Forbidden Door the other day, like I was, we've seen people drink each other's blood. Like, what are you going to do in this cage match? Like, we're going to put a bomb on the top of the cage, like, and we're going to have a guy open the bag and the bomb explode and he blows up into the ring. And that fucking happened. I mean, literally, Darby put a bag with a bomb in it. Like, okay, I don't know. We're bombing each other now. So, but yes, this didn't have bombs. It didn't even have blood.
No bombs, no blood. I did like the ending that Owen is really close to escaping, climbing over the top and successfully, landing on the ground. Bret catches up to him. They're punching each other a little bit, and Bret punches Owen. They're perched on top of the cage. They're both sitting on top of the cage. Yeah. And Bret punches Owen. He's got his legs stuck in one of the squares of the cage, and Bret just drops down and he retains. And then of course the shenanigans ensue.
Post-match, yeah.
Post-match shenanigans. Jim Neidhart hops the barricade and he like sneaks behind British Bulldog and British Bulldog's wife and clotheslines both of them over the barricade onto the mats. He starts helping Owen attack Bret. They throw him back in the cage. They lock the door with a chain and a padlock. And then all the brothers and British Bulldog are like trying to climb in. It's like, oh, it's so crazy. They're gonna kill him. They're gonna assault him. And it lasts for a minute or two. Eventually, the good guys of the Hart family get into the cage. Owen and Neidhart get out. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah. Deanna Hart getting knocked down. Yeah. I didn't need all that.
What did Dave think of that one?
It was a 5-star match for Dave Meltzer, according to Dave Meltzer.
I mean, I guess at the time I could see it. I definitely agree with you. I did not need the shenanigans afterwards.
Yeah, but it happens.
What you gonna do?
And then we get into the main event. So WWF really put it out there. They really took a big swing with this one. Like I said before, the $1 Million Man claims to have resurrected the Undertaker after his coffin death, facing Yokozuna. And Paul Bearer claims that, no, I have the Undertaker. So they're going to do $1 Million Man's Undertaker versus Paul Bearer's Undertaker. Undertaker versus Undertaker. People everywhere. People in all the restaurants and the sanitation workers and everyone's like, all the Chicago guys with the Chicago accents are saying they've seen the Undertaker. Oh yeah, no, the Undertaker was right here in Walmart, and the Undertaker was right here, and the Johnny on the spot or whatever. And he promised he'd be reborn. So we're going to see what happens. DiBiase has brought his Undertaker onto the Shawn Michaels Heartbreak Hotel segment on one of the TV shows. So we saw some of that. And then we get into Undertaker versus Underfaker, as some people have called it. Who played the Underfaker?
Faker Taker is what my wife and I were calling him.
Okay. Yeah. Faker Taker.
Brian Lee Harris. That's he ends up being Chains. I think that's one of the neo-Nazi guys, right?
Who was it?
Chains with a Z. Him and 8-Ball. Remember from
really?
the Attitude Era? Yeah.
That's who played Underfaker?
Brian Lee Harris, better known later as Chains with a Z.
He was one of those guys, huh? One of those neo-Nazis? Huh.
Right? Wasn't he?
I don't want to say he's a neo-Nazi if he wasn't, is the only thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's fair. Yeah, he was part of the Disciples of Apocalypse, DOA.
Okay.
So 8-Ball was the other guy, I think.
Yeah.
Chains, Skull, and 8-Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, Crush was the leader of the DOA. Wait.
So
yeah,
Don and Ron Harris were the Nazi guys.
Oh, okay. The Harris. So he wasn't. That's Skull and 8-Ball. Skull and 8-Ball were the ones.
He was affiliated with that team.
He was affiliated, yeah, but he's not a neo-Nazi. He's
not like one of the confirmed Nazis. But it's funny. I'm looking at Brian Lee right now with his blonde mullet, and he looks like one of these like WCW like Smoky Mountain guys. Well, he was.
Well, he was in Smoky Mountain.
But he looks very like of the time if he's just Brian Lee. But so yeah, he looked kind of like a fool in these pictures, but he looked like the Undertaker when he came out. But once he stood next to the real Undertaker,
you're like, yeah, that's not the Undertaker.
Noticeably smaller. He has the same tattoos that I guess they drew on and stuff. But like, I mean,
he also doesn't look anything like him when you can see their faces.
Yeah, it was much, but like the entrances were cool because you got two Undertaker entrances. I always say like there's nothing better than a 90s Undertaker entrance, and Underfaker Brian Lee, his entrance was pretty cool. The lights go out and the spotlight and everything. He's got Ted DiBiase, but then I feel like they even amped it up more for legitimate Undertaker with Paul Bearer. Yeah. He's coming out. Well, he's not even coming out. Paul Bearer is pushing a casket to the fucking ring.
With some lackeys, two hooded figures are pushing a casket towards the ring. Paul Bearer opens it, and the Undertaker's not inside, but a giant urn is. So he takes that out, walks into the ring, and takes the lid of the urn off to reveal a bright beam of light shining out of the urn
through the fog.
Through the fog, and it was cool. And if I didn't very clearly understand, like, oh, they just got a big floodlight in there, it would have been super cool. But he's waving it around, and
it's one of those like 10,000 candlelight camping flashlights.
Yeah, one of the flashlights that you can get now from anywhere on the internet. But back then, it's like, holy shit, it's the brightest thing I've ever seen.
But I mean, the lights go out, the urn's glowing. It's the only thing in the arena that's glowing. And then there's lightning and thunder, and then the real Undertaker appearance in the entrance ramp, which was kind of cinematic. I don't know. And then, I mean, when they get back in and they get in the ring, they remove their hats
at the same time.
Images. Yeah. Same gear. Undertaker's way shorter. It's ridiculous. It really is. And you're like, how are they going to do this? Like I already see they look different. Like when the bell rings, there's no way this can go well. And it doesn't. Fucking sucks. Like everything cool about this is the entrances. And I've seen less believable stuff in wrestling. Don't get me wrong. Maybe not off the top of my head, but like probably see more bullshitty things here and there. But like this was oddly dead. The crowd was fucking dead. Like, did you feel that? Like
I did.
There was no, everyone was like, what? Like, we want to see the Undertaker, but what's the feud? He's fighting himself. Like,
it just didn't really, you know what it was? It's that thing that happened with the Wyatt Six and with the Fiend version of Bray Wyatt, where when you go too mystical and too spiritual or too occult or too whatever, you run the risk of the match itself not living up to the hype that you've created from the storytelling. And that is what happened here, because the idea on its face, the build up to it, if you were a kid in the 90s, this would be a really cool thing, right? And like the entrances and the urn, for the time, that was really cool and dark and different from what WWF was doing. But then the lights turn on and they just have a match, and Underfaker's not very good.
No.
And Undertaker is just Undertaker, but it's an 8-minute match. Like, what can you really get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I took a lot of notes about the entrances, and then I have no notes about the wrestling other than the real Undertaker hits 3 tombstones and wins. I mean,
yeah,
like that's about it. You know, it's a -1 star for Dave Meltzer, making it is -1 star worse than dud? I think dud means you didn't try, I'm not going to bother. You didn't try, I'm not going to try. -1, I think, is worse. It means you tried and it was worse than bad.
Wow.
So, well, that's my take on it, at least. What maybe these numbers mean, I don't really know. But as they say in the wrestling business, this was all sizzle, no steak. Fake Undertaker goes into the casket. Real Undertaker is back. Leslie Nielsen opens the casket. Nothing is inside.
Whoa.
And that's how it ends, man. Like this whole detective bit, so dumb is how it ends. So, shout out to my friend Peter, my old long time friend, who suggested when we started doing this podcast that we watch this pay-per-view. He said SummerSlam 94, Undertaker versus Undertaker. I think it's probably hitting the sweet spot for both of us in the time we were watching a lot. So it was nostalgic and fun to go back. I think watching this, though, even for Peter today, I would be curious how he feels about it, because I mean the actual match itself, there's absolutely nothing in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the pay-per-view. That's it. If I have any trivia here, I had some things. The Alundra Blayze versus Bull Nakano is regarded by some, I don't know who I was getting this from, but as one of the strongest WWF women matches of the 90s. There weren't a lot of women's matches in the 90s, though. Randy Savage was at the very end of his WWF run.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Luger Tatanka match. Who do I see this from? Featured one of the best WWF's best double swerves of the New Generation era. I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, if it was, then poor New Generation era for having terrible fucking swerves.
Yeah,
if that's one of the best ones.
I'm sure New Generation doesn't have a lot of like good by way of story stuff. Bret versus Owen, still regarded as one of the best WWE cage matches. Sorry. It's the only SummerSlam to ever have been held at the United Center, and this was just 11 days after the damn place opened. And it was my call to watch this particular retro pay-per-view, so I'll go ahead and give my rating first. Funny, I usually think about this ahead of time. You know what? It would not be a rewind. For those of you who don't know, fast forward, play, and rewind are our three-tier rating system. Fast forward being it sucked, play being it was all right, and rewind being it was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stay in the middle. I would lean on the lower side of the middle, but I'm going to give it a play because it has Bret Hart and Owen in it. It has, even if it wasn't a great match, it's got The Undertaker twice. It's got some unique ass matches. You don't usually see chances taken like we saw with the supernatural stuff with The Undertaker, and you don't usually see Bret and Owen in a cage. That said, there wasn't a whole lot of bangers on here. You know, if by modern day wrestling standards, it doesn't really hold up. But I had fun watching it, and it was nostalgic for me. So I'll, give it a sort of questionable play. What say you, Aaron?
Yes, the cop out answer for me. Let's give it a play. I also give it a play, and that's just because it's not completely irredeemable, but it is also not something I think I would recommend to anyone, just because if I want to show you a Bret versus Owen match, I'm showing you WrestleMania 10. If I want to show you a cool Undertaker entrance and a good Undertaker match, there's literally dozens of those. And so there's just nothing super unique about this other than it took place in 1994. So it's a reluctant play from me.
Yes, I completely agree.
That one was okay, I guess.
That's the truth. And we always love to hear from you out there, the Grapple Gang. You can let us know what you think we should watch next. You can let us know what you think of our takes. Give us your feelings about current product, old product, whatever you want, or just cut a promo on us. We've had some funny promos cut on myself, on Aaron, on both of us on the show. You can call 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
And that'll lead you to our Google Voice line where you'll just be prompted to leave a message. Don't worry. You don't have to talk to anyone right that moment. And you can send us an email, grapplecitypod@gmail.com. You can you can contact us across social media at grapplecitypod. I normally would play some correspondence, but we're going a little bit late today. So I'm just going to scoot on over to what we're going to watch next. Although I promise, I know I said it before, but I promise next week I will try to actually get to some calls and emails and TikTok comments, because those are all fucking great, and we will get to it eventually. But this pay-per-view was my call, Aaron, so that means the next one is yours. Are you staying in SummerSlam realm? Are you giving us a swerve, or what are you thinking?
I'm going to stay in the SummerSlam realm, but it is kind of a swerve. We were in your era. Now we going to go to my era.
All right, 2002.
And we're going to watch what did you say, 2002?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, sure.
Yeah, arguably one of the greatest SummerSlams ever, SummerSlam 2002 from Uniondale, New York, Nassau Coliseum. Just some of the highlights of the matches that we get: Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, Ric Flair versus Chris Jericho, Edge versus Eddie Guerrero, Christian and Lance Storm against Booker T and Goldust, Rob Van Dam against Chris Benoit, Undertaker versus Test, Shawn Michaels versus Triple H in an unsanctioned match.
Ooh. And
Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for the WWE Undisputed Championship.
It's funny, like I think it really is true. Like my definitive year. I mean, I was watching before that and after, but like my real year is 94, and your like real year is 02, and we're about 7 or 8 years apart in age, and this is about 7 or 8 years apart in numbers. It really makes sense. We're like talking about when we were 10 or 11 or some shit, right?
Yeah. Basically, from 99 until like 2003. That was when I was watching, from ages 10 to 14.
It's a bummer now. Like I've been talking to my friends and clients about wrestling again enough years. I've been back in enough years that I've seen people like fall off. Oh, like you talk to someone, they're like, oh, I fell off a few months back, or I fell off about a year and a half ago. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. People drop off of this shit eventually.
People take breaks. Yeah. I mean, I've been kind of taking a break, I'm still end up watching at least 1 or 2 things a week. But while we were doing our bonus episodes, I made a very concerted effort to just watch the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Spend some time away from it, because it can be a lot if you're trying to watch all the WWE, all the AEW, and what we watch, and pay-per-views. It can be a lot.
Sometimes, I tell people, like, I love it so much that I start to hate it, because I'm like, I can't breathe because there's so much wrestling on my mind. Like, what is this? Like, I need to escape my escape. So yeah, it's good, and that's why we take breaks, because we don't want to burn out, and so we do this the amount that we can sort of still keep it fun. I hope. So.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for fucking SummerSlam 02. I keep wanting to say 22. 02. Long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we got for today. Thanks for joining us on our little return here. It's always fun to talk about that wrestling. We'll be back as soon as we can.
We'll catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.